Okay, hello people. This series is going to be a series about how you are going to create your first website. And this is for people who, never started programming at all and don't know what it is, but just think it's cool to have a website for some reason. So the problem I find with YouTube videos is that some videos are too simple. It goes to the very basics, and you basically either all know all of that already, or some videos are too complicated and you can't really follow the beginning, or you're just copying what they're doing but not really understanding how it's doing. But so this video I'm going to try to cover all of it, and definitely a few short videos aren't going to tell you all about everything. So yeah, this will just be encourage you to see what exists, and you can do your own research later. But basically, yeah, by the time you finish a series of videos, you can just type URL into the browser, and then basically anyone in the world can see your website. So it's pretty cool, and it's actually not too hard to do. It's less complicated than it seems like. So yeah, so why make a website? Because it's cool and people will think you're impressive, or people might think you're a nerd and just you have no friends anymore. But anyways, it's a good way to learn how to get started doing programming. And the same with websites, it's start with being very simple, and then but it can still get very complicated later on. It's not like you just learn websites as your first thing to do programming, and then you can just move on to something else. It's really useful, and you can learn it for a long time, and there's a bunch of stuff to learn. And so what are we going to do? We're going to design a website. For my example, I'm just going to make a website about a recipe for a pizza or something. So we're going to design it, which we can just sketch it on a piece of paper or something and see design how it looks like first to make it look good. And so we're actually going to code it and make the website, and then we're going to host it so anyone can see the website. So yeah. So this video is just going to be the very introduction and very basic questions. Feel free to skip to some later videos if you want. But what's a website? A website is obviously just something you can open in a browser. Basically, for example, Google.com, Amazon, or YouTube, Wikipedia, Gmail, anything you can open on a website. And so what is a web browser? A web browser is the thing where you can open websites. For example, Google Chrome is the one that's most used, or Safari, Firefox, Internet Explorer or something if you're weird. Why would you use Internet Explorer? Anyways, why not use those website builder things, do Wix or something? But the problem is apparently it gives pretty messy code, and actually in my opinion kind of confusing to use. You're relying on something else and you're not actually really learning. You can't customize it as much one specific thing that you want to do, or make your own video game on those websites. It's probably hard, and because we're learning programming, it's better to just program it actually. So yeah, so what is exactly coding? If you don't know anything at all, it's basically what are websites made out of. Websites are basically made out of files, basically files on your computer. You probably know what files are. They're made out of files, and so basically they're made out of plain text files, which means that it doesn't have anything. It's just all it has, all the data it contains is text. So there are three types of file. And the same as the thing that it is websites are different from Google Google Docs or Word or something, is that you don't edit the website in so you don't just press here and it will add something. You have a file, and you can, for example, enter as an example, place a button here, and then the web browser will just handle it and put the button somewhere. So that's a very basic example. And yeah, so there are three types of files. The first two aren't really programming languages, as in they can't calculate anything, but they're markup files, basically telling you where to place stuff. So first of all, HTML. And HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. And that basically means you can use that file to tell you what stuff is on the page. For example, oh, here's a header that says hello, and then on the bottom there's some text, and then okay, and then there's another button, and there's a list. And then you can say with CSS you can change. It's called cascading style sheets, which you can change different styles. For example, you can say make this text, I don't know, red or bigger or a different font, and make this list maybe a different color and space it out a bit more, and the button should go over here. So basically that's where that's what CSS does. And JavaScript is an actual programming language where you can use it to calculate stuff. For example, if the user, you can let the user, I don't know, enter two numbers and use JavaScript to calculate addition or something to make a calculator, the actual stuff, and I can actually change the web page. So that's basically the three files: HTML, JavaScript, and CSS. I got the order wrong, but three files that tells you how to build a website. And in the next few videos, we're going to see like how it's actually going to work. So if you enjoyed this video, thank you, and subscribe for the later videos, which will probably come out in a few days.